From China to Japan to Vietnam and the ACLU, welcome to today's news brief. As you know, over 15 months ago, Japan was affected by a tsunami. This tsunami wreaked havoc on the infrastructure in Japan and has caused thousands of people to die. Despite this fact, the Japanese government has chosen arbitrarily to create another nuclear reactor. The article that's included below goes into detail about the reasoning and rationale behind this, but many journalists are calling this the common sense conspiracy. So if you weren't one who was a conspiracy theorist in the past, you're probably one now. When you see how governments can treat their citizens. So my questions to my viewers, is this something that's fair to the people? Many cultures have been criticized by Western media as being outdated or antiquated. Young girls that, once they reach the point of menstruation, are married off by other family members. But as you can see in the West, in certain states, particularly in America, they're just as antiquated in their treatment of women. In the case of the other countries, these young girls may be prepared more for the task of motherhood. But in a society such as the West, many individuals don't mature at ages that are appropriate for bearing children at the age of 15. Because this disparity has occurred and is not noted in the media's discussion of society, most third world countries or countries that are with a lower GDP are painted more as primitive in comparison to the West. But this case proves otherwise. Louisiana Board of Education is in violation of Title IX, which is the Education Amendment of 1972. The ACLU has accused this Louisiana Board of Education of discrimination towards pregnant young girls. In this particular district, the young girls are very young, poor, and they're getting pregnant at ages between 15 and 19. Unfortunately, this became an epidemic. So Louisiana School Board decided to create a policy that has been labeled discriminatory. But I'm going to allow my viewers to make that decision. They created a law that basically states if a young girl refuses to get pregnancy tests after showing that she's pregnant, that she is sent to homeschool. If she is pregnant, she's still sent to homeschool, for they believe that a woman's opportunities to learn are better enhanced in a homeschool environment. Now, my question to my viewers, is this a case of discrimination? It was the idea in the Vietnam War for the Department of Defense to have a contract with Dow Chemicals and Monastero, which are two chemical producing plants, to actually create what has been coined as a defoliant labeled Agent Orange. The rebels' food supply was destroyed. 18% of Vietnam's forests are no longer in existence. But the harms of Agent Orange did not just affect the Vietnamese people. Many of the veterans returned back to the United States with many different forms of cancer, throat cancer, lung cancer, also liver cancer, and other acute cancers that have affected the veterans that fought during this time period in Vietnam. The United States chose to take on a landmark project worth $43 million, where the soil will be excavated and heated in order to remove the dioxins, which is a chemical that is left back in the soil that has been left by the Agent Orange that was shot into these fields. The water channels underneath the earth have also been contaminated. There's no plan for these changes to be implemented. But the reason why this is a landmark situation is because America has refused to have accountability to the Vietnamese people until now. So whether we're talking about Vietnam or Japan, my question to my viewers: are governments doing all that they can do for its citizens throughout the world? This concludes this week's news brief. I want to thank everyone for viewing. This is your brother Umar signing out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.